Hey, 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 today is World UFO Day. Ooh, scary, kid, scary. I almost want to sit there and be like, yeah, okay, that wasn't such a great UFO impersonation. But I also want to point out the Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, Jeff McAleer back once again. I'm your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I am the Grand Poobah, as I like to say. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. And today marks, I believe today is the 124th episode of the Daily Dope, so hey, not too shabby at all. And it is Monday, July 2nd, so a brand new month here as well. So pretty cool. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. I had a really good weekend. Got some gaming in. Played some of the smaller footprint games that I wanted to get a peek at from Origins Game Fair that I had brought with. So I got to sit down and play some Robotech Force of Arms. I played Before the Earth Explodes, which is from Green Couch Games. Robotech Force of Arms is from Solar Flare Games. Got a few games of Raiders of the North Sea from Renegade Game Studios in, which is not a small footprint game, and it's a bigger size game. Wow, we really dug it. So I will actually have a review of that in the very near future. So it was pretty cool. Got some gaming in and played a little bit of Neverwinter online with my nephew and some of his friends who are part of the Gaming Gang. I was kind of showing them the ropes as far as setting up a guild and things like that. So had a lot of fun. All right, so got a pretty good sized show ahead of us. Although I got to admit, news was a little bit light today, which isn't surprising, especially since it is the 4th of July on Wednesday. U.S. companies are going to be a little quieter, but I've got some news, and I am going to take a first look and unbox Shifting Realms, which is from Soaring Rhino Entertainment. And I got an opportunity to talk with Craig Van Ness, who is the designer of the game, as well as the co-founder of Soaring Rhino at Origins Game Fair. And this seems really interesting. So I am very, very excited to take a look. All right, but that's going to come up after the news. So I do want to mention that chat is available through YouTube. This is a live stream. I know many of you, the vast majority, don't watch live, but if you are catching the show live today, and if you want to say hello or have a question or want a closer look at something with Shifting Realms, be sure to chime in and I will respond. I do point out that chat is not on screen simply because that kind of helps keep some of the oddballs at bay. Anyway, moving right along, let's get on into the news because there was some really big role-playing game news yesterday as Chaosium released the updated Masks of Nyarlathotep for 7th edition Call of Cthulhu. And they released it in PDF, not the physical books yet, but in PDF. And here's the dope. Dark schemes herald the end of the world. Reanimation of the classic Call of Cthulhu campaign. The new edition of Masks of Nyarlathotep is a complete revision and updating of this epic multi-part campaign set in 1925, in which steadfast investigators must unravel secrets and battle the minions of darkness in an attempt to stop world-shattering events from destroying humanity. Now you can get the Omnibus PDF edition. Masks of Nyarlathotep has been comprehensively revised and updated for use with Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, but may also be run with the Pulp Cthulhu supplement. Global campaign covering 7 countries in 5 continents, packed with encounters, sidetrack adventures, detailed adversaries, geographical information, and more. It's presented in full color with new artwork, maps, and floor plans, and ready-to-use player handouts. Appendices collect spells, tomes, artifacts, and travel advice. This is the Ultimate Edition, packed full of advice and tips as well. The original 6-chapter campaign featuring adventures in America, England, Egypt, Kenya, Australia, and China have been developed and updated by Mike Mason, Lynn Hardy, Paul Fricker, and Scott Dorward. Hopefully I got that correct. And also features enhanced and new encounters, subplots, and on-point guidance for the Keeper. There's even a completely brand new chapter. Set in Peru, this new scenario takes place in 1921 and provides an exciting introductory prologue to the campaign where the investigators meet Jackson Elias, the industrious and charming author whose researches lead into the globe-spanning mystery. Embarking on an expedition to find a lost South American pyramid, the investigators come face to face with ancient horrors that foreshadow the task ahead. And there's even more. And as an added bonus, a grand conclusion chapter helps the Keeper to determine just how successful the players have been in tackling the dark schemes of Nyarlathotep's cults, as well as discussing ways to extend the campaign in a variety of ways. Each chapter has been tirelessly cross-referenced to help those running the campaign to keep track of the many locations, characters, player handouts, and items thrown up by the player's investigation. With new appendices collecting spells, tomes, and artifacts, I pointed that out before, running the campaign is easier than it has ever been. Right now, you can score the Mass of Nyarlathotep, the 666-page PDF, 666, of the omnibus of both volumes from Drive-Thru RPG for $59.99. All right, so this isn't the first time that I have mentioned Masks of Nyarlathotep, and it's cool to see the PDF is out. I am pumped. I am excited to get a look at this because I ran the original campaign, which was in the boxed set, which actually didn't have the Australia chapter. That was released later on as kind of a standalone adventure, as part of, what was it, Terror Australis or something like that? It was a separate book, but that has been brought back into the fold. It was actually brought back into the complete Masks of Nyarlathotep that came out in, I think, the 90s. But this looks really, really cool. I'm excited. I am going to run this for Cameron and Kyle and non-nephew Cameron and, excuse me, probably Daniel. So, and I'm trying to get Elliot Miller maybe to sit in on a few adventures, even though he was a player in this back in the day when we ran this, when we were in high school, when I ran this for my gang back then. One thing I do want to point out, though, I don't know, $60 for a PDF is a little, you know, and I get it, it's over 650 pages, but still, $60 for a PDF just sort of, I don't know, to me it seems a little high. Seems a little high because you can actually go and get 400, 500 page core books in PDF for $20, $25 a lot of times. So I do think, and you know, I don't want to dissuade anybody from picking this up because I love the original campaign. And I'm sure they have done some tweaks to make it much more PC, I guess we would say, than the original edition was. But I don't know. $60 just seems a little high for a PDF. Just my opinion. I'm just saying, but I am pumped to start digging into this. I'm going to start actually looking through this tonight because I am really excited to be able to run this for the gang. All right, so there is a time-tripping Euro-style game that I believe is coming later this year. I'm not positive. It's from Artipia Games, and I've got the dope on A Thief's Fortune. Nabara, a city full of wonders and stories to be told, a glimmering jewel in the middle of the desert. You are a thief, always on the lookout for the next target to hit. You decide to sneak into the royal palace, break in its treasure room, and look for the mythical treasures rumored to be hidden there. Among piles of gold, emeralds, and precious jewelry, you stumble upon a chest containing a mysterious hourglass. As soon as you touch it, you are filled with mystical energy and realize its true power. You are now able to see glimpses of your own future. By taking different courses of action, different paths unfold before you, allowing you to shape your future as you see fit. Unfortunately, everyone in the palace is now after you. A Thief's Fortune is a card game for 1 to 4 players in which each player represents a different possible future of the same character. By visiting different locations, interacting with local characters, and making sure that certain events that you have seen actually happen, you try to find the path that will lead you as far away as possible from danger. In more detail, players each have 3 areas in front of them: past, present, and, you guessed it, future. Over 5 rounds, players draft location, event, and character cards, adding them to their personal future area with resources on those cards. Players extract resources from those cards, and when they're empty, the cards move into the player's present, after which the player can activate the power on those cards to score the fortune points they need to win the game. As mentioned, A Thief's Fortune is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, and plays in about 45 to 90 minutes. This game has kind of caught my eye, but here's the weird thing. So there was originally going to be a Kickstarter for the game, which was canceled. I believe it was canceled before it even launched, because I took a peek on Kickstarter and A Thief's Fortune does not appear anywhere. And they show canceled or, unsuccessful Kickstarters and so on. But Artipia is showing a banner for it to back it on Kickstarter on their website. So I'm not sure if this is heading to crowdfunding or not heading to crowdfunding, or maybe coming out later on. I don't know. But it does look like a pretty cool game, so I just wanted to share it, and hopefully we can find out what exactly might be going on with this game. Okay. Do want to point out, Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering are getting ready to celebrate 25 years of collectible card game goodness at this year's Gen Con, and here's the dope. Magic the Gathering will commemorate its 25th birthday on August 2nd through 5th in Indianapolis at Gen Con, North America's largest and longest-running tabletop convention. Making an international splash at Gen Con in 1993, Magic the Gathering has become a worldwide phenomenon with more than 100 booster releases, printings in 11 languages, and more than 20,000 unique cards. At Gen Con 2018, Magic will give back to the gaming community with a host of planned events, tournaments, and surprises. Magic's 2018 presence at Gen Con will include hundreds of events, including learn-to-play programming, competitive drafts, and signature offerings that highlight the 25th birthday of the original tradable card game. Events include Magic's 25th Birthday Championship. Why are they calling it birthday? That just... It's not a real thing. It's not a living thing. It should be anniversary. Weird. And I will have another comment about that, about this news piece at the end. Anyway, there is Magic's 25th Birthday Championship, 8 qualifier events open to all attendees, and it will take place over the weekend that will culminate in a Saturday 8-player event. I should say Sunday 8-player event, which will feature beta boosters from Magic's first year of existence. That's pretty wild. There's a Magic panel. Attendees can learn about Magic's history and glimpse its future at a ticketed free panel. Celebrate Magic's 25th birthday with its creators. Come join us and members of Magic's R&D team as they talk about their personal history with the game and where they see it in the next 25 years. Okay, that's a little wishful thinking, but I'm not being negative. I do dig Magic the Gathering, and I have been playing it since the beginning. It's just I think it's silly that they're saying birthday. It's a game, it's not a person. Anyway, get a look behind the scenes at Wizards and learn about their journey from being fans of the game to creating it. Stick around for a Q&A session with our guests. Then there's multiplayer events. The more players, the more fun. Multiplayer events will include Battlebond 2HG, Wizards Tower, Trios, and Grand Melee. These are great for parent and child teams. There's constructed events. Great prizes await at Standard, Modern, Legacy, and Vintage events. There's also on-demand programming around the clock with Magic including Core 2019 drafts, Chaos drafts, 2HG drafts, Commander Play, and Turbo Town events. Excuse me, I'm still trying to get rid of this crud out of my lungs here from my con crud. Anyway, weekend-long surprises. The Wizards of the Coast team will have some surprises in store all weekend, and gamers should keep on the lookout for giveaways on social media, around the convention center, and in Magic's play areas. So, and of course, Gen Con does take place August 2nd through the 5th, and I will be there covering it. So, anyway, the little comments I was making through that news piece, I don't want to sound like I'm down on Magic. I like Magic. I have absolutely no problem. I know there are people who complain, and yeah, they tend to be the same people who just are never happy with anything as far as our hobby. So I take their bitching with a grain of salt, really. But although it was funny how the news story, the press release kind of said, oh, when Magic took the world by storm when it released at Gen Con in 1993. That is not true. It did not become a hit until months after Gen Con. There was really hardly any buzz about it. They were practically, of course, at the time, they were practically on Sunday giving away the boxes of boosters and that because they didn't want to pack them up and carry them with them. So that's not true that in 1993 it took Gen Con by storm. It did not. Now, by 1994, though, there not only was just everybody playing Magic, but there were also, everybody and their grandmother had tried to come up with a Magic clone. And boy, I tell you, we played a bunch of those, and they were complete steaming piles. They were horrible. Just horrible. But hey, 25 years, Magic has stood the test of time. Speaking of something else that has stood the test of time, White Wolf Entertainment has released their first true sneak peek at the upcoming 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade. And I've got the dope. Here it is, your first look at full and final pages from Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, V5. These are pages ripped straight from the actual book at the presses. Okay, they didn't rip them out. And we hope that you'll enjoy the glimpse at what's inside. If you are a registered member of the World of Darkness site, this item should automatically show up in your inventory. And if it doesn't, log out and log in again to refresh it. This is what you'll see in the preview. A brief excerpt from the Dossier of the Damned, the Secrets Drenched Overture to V5, over 20 pages that set the scene for your V5 Chronicle. You're getting a look at the Second Inquisition's first attempts to understand what they have discovered and also catch up a bit with an old acquaintance. There's also an introduction to concepts on the dark themes and tone that permeate V5 and the World of Darkness. Fashion discusses how the kindred dress for the modern knights and why. And there's a reason that vampires like to wear black. There's 2 clan spreads from the clans chapter, and there's beliefs, which shows you the concepts that support their take on humanity. We now allow the troupe to customize not only their characters' morals, but the entire Chronicle's moral foundation to help drive play and to mechanically support the theme and mood chosen for a particular game. During the development of V5, we received much feedback about the old celerity, with innumerable requests to make it more varied and easier to use. By following the axiom, never mess with the action economy, as well as the idea that no power should be used solely for combat, we developed what you'll see here. All the disciplines follow a similar pattern with unique powers chosen for each dot. Finally, we're sharing 3 of the lore sheets, a feature that combines the rich story legacy of Vampire with mechanical impact on characters and play. Players can choose dots in lore sheets at character creation to gain immediate connections with the metaplot and to jumpstart their stories. This 27-page PDF preview is available absolutely free simply by registering at the World of Darkness website. So there are going to be some pretty big releases at Gen Con that I foresee, especially role-playing games, because role-playing games are kind of meat and potatoes of Gen Con. Now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of board game action, card game action as well. We have seen way more tabletop board game, card game, what have you, companies attending Gen Con over the past few years than previously. But Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition is going to be one of those big RPG releases at Gen Con. You're also going to see the Pathfinder playtest for 2nd edition. That's going to be huge. And I really do think the Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory is going to be a much bigger release than the folks over at Ulysses North America might think. But I believe if the design team stuck with their guns, or stuck to their guns, as to the direction that this 5th edition of Vampire has gone in, from what I heard about a year ago, I really think that this 5th edition is going to be very divisive for fans of Vampire the Masquerade. I think some folks are going to really like it. Other folks are going to despise it if the folks over at White Wolf stuck to their guns as far as how they were designing this game. I will just leave it at that. I'm hoping to maybe get a sneak peek. I will probably be interviewing some of the design team from Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition at Gen Con as well. So I'll probably get to take a much closer look at the game then, but I might be able to pull off something to see it before its release, because I am kind of curious. I have no like hatred for Vampire the Masquerade as some people have had over the years. Yeah, the splat books and things like that, you know, there was so much coming out that they were kind of pushing other companies' products off the, you know, off the stands and things like that, off the shelves. But I don't know. I remember reading the 1st edition of it when it came out, and I thought, hey, this is pretty interesting. And mechanically, I was like, hey, you know, this is pretty light. This is all about story, very little about, you know, real crunch and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool. Can I tell you? I am curious to take a look at this, and I think this is going to be a big release. I'm just hoping that they did change direction a little bit, because, not to reveal too many things, but there were some creepy, not really for the average gamer's consumption stuff that was floating around that I just thought would be very bizarre. Anywho, that's it for today's news. Let me clear my throat again here. Wow. Jeez. Okay, so before I jump into the unboxing and first look at Shifting Realms, let me talk about what's coming up the rest of this week, probably early into next week as well. So, of course, last week I'm like, yeah, so this is what's coming up. Completely forgetting 4th of July is on Wednesday. Duh. So, what I'm going to do is, there's not going to be a show on the 4th, because I don't do shows on major U.S. holidays. I don't think there's going to be a show on Thursday either. I have an opportunity maybe to go camping again with my brother and sister-in-law, my niece and nephew, And a lot of times, my nephew Cameron, who's part of the gaming gang, some of his friends come up and we actually play games at the campsite. So I might be doing that. So as far as tomorrow's show, I am going to still be doing the unboxing and first look at Sword and Sorcery Arcane Portal. I'm going to kind of tilt this, get rid of some of that glare. The first major supplement, major expansion for Sword and Sorcery from Ares Games. So I'm going to be looking at that. Then, no show on Wednesday. So originally I was planning on doing a review. Let me move some of this stuff around. I always have stuff stacked up all around me here. So originally I was going to do the review of Fort Sumter, the Secession Crisis 1860-1861 on Wednesday's show. I may actually shoot just a separate video of the review and actually have it up on Wednesday. I'm gonna try to do that, probably try to do that tomorrow. I did actually get a couple of standalone videos shot over the weekend. Didn't get to edit them though, so they're not ready to pop up yet. But I did do that, and whenever I have an opportunity to play some games, get some, get some plays in of games that I need to review, I always jump at that because it's not something I have an opportunity to do every single day, right? So, but I did get a couple of standalone videos shot. Just got to do some editing, do some graphic work on them, and they'll be good to go. So, Fort Sumter, I'm going to do that as kind of a standalone review. On Friday, I'm going to do Tales from the Loop. We're going to take a in-depth look at Tales from the Loop from Free League. This looks phenomenal. This looks excellent. And of course, it is in any award-winning title from last year. Speaking of other kind of standalone stuff I'm going to try to get in, I want to take a look at, I want to share with you what YA Magazine looks like. What an average issue of YA Magazine from Mark H. Walker and the gang over at Flying Pig Games looks like. Because I know a lot of people realize, yeah, it comes with the game, but there's actually a magazine that comes with the game. So, and this looks pretty cool. Strike for Berlin. It's a hypothetical Soviet Germany battle in 1920. So that looks kind of cool. So I'm going to do an independent video on that. I am also going to do a standalone video, and we're going to take a look at the free RPG Day release from Ulysses. Why in the world did it go blank on me there? It's Ulysses North America, Jeff. Duh. You know what threw me off a little bit was I almost said Ulysses Spiel. Duh. And Blessings Unheralded. This was the free RPG Day release. And here's the weird thing. If you take a look at the back, I think you should probably be able to see that. Right up here, it's saying that this carries an MSRP of $9.95. So I'm wondering if Ulysses North America is planning on selling this at some point, because there is an adventure in here. It's kind of quick start rules and an adventure. And I'm sure if you have any interest in the new Warhammer 40K RPG that's coming out, you probably already caught my interview with Ross, Steven, and Wendelin at Origins Game Fair. We talked about the game itself. Pretty cool. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I'm always keeping my eyes peeled for the stuff from Ulysses North America because it is awesome quality. So I love that. I love that about this. So we're going to actually take a peek at this because I think this should be coming out for free in PDF sometime this month, because that's usually how free RPG Day releases kind of go. Is you'll start to see the PDFs arrive usually on Drive-Thru RPG, and they're free. So another thing too is for the past couple of years, I do believe, if I remember correctly, there's a booth for free RPG Day at Gen Con. So if you're attending Gen Con, a lot of times they have editions of the various different products that they had for free RPG Day there for you to pick up. So I think that's kind of cool too. All right, so anyway, enough of that rambling on, right? You're here to see Shifting Realms from Soaring Rhino Entertainment, and I can't blame you because this looks pretty damn interesting. Anyway, Shifting Realms, as I mentioned, is from Soaring Rhino Entertainment. It's designed by Craig and Jeff Van Ness, with artwork provided by John Ariosa, Conceptopolis. It's a group, obviously. Hey, and why in the world did that just pop up with all of these again? Man, I went in here to make sure there was only one. Boy, I tell you, this just craziness, I swear. It's weird. I've been having some odd things going on with my the program that I use to do the streaming and that. I'll go and save things and then exit out and then come back and it's not saved and it's all weird. Just like today, sound was a little bit out of sync again. And it's like, why? Nothing's changed. Anyway, as I was saying, artwork for Shifting Realms is provided by John Ariosa, Conceptopolis, and Craig Van Ness. The game's for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and plays in about an hour. Now, I do want to point out, Shifting Realms is being sent out to Kickstarter backers. I believe it's as I speak, otherwise it's right on the horizon. I do not have an MSRP for this game as of yet when it goes to retail, but I do want to point out that the core game did carry a pledge level of $55. All right, so let's head on over to the other camera here. And of course, I made that change. Boom! I took those slides out and it kind of messed up the whole setup, but that's easy enough. Okay, so first off, I'm just going to get the shrink wrap off of this so we can get rid of some of the glare. Alright, come on. So, my understanding is there are 5 different realms, and the realms kind of, it's kind of almost like a mashup, sort of, for the various different realms. And there were some... now, I do know that there's another release on the horizon. I believe it's coming next year, which is going to add more factions to Shifting Realms. And I should mention, if the name Craig Van Ness is ringing a bell with you, it's probably because you may recall he was the lead designer on HeroScape back with Hasbro. Back in the day. Alright, so Shifting Realms is a game of colliding realms. 5 are included: Elf Realm, Dwarf Realm, Orc Realm, Goblin, Pirate Realm, and Priest Realm. Each unique in board layout, structures, story cards, tasks, and end conditions. To set up the game, 3 realms are selected at random, then players take turns until 2 of the 3 realms' end conditions are met, at which point the game ends. During the game, players send out scouts to collect resources, recruit soldiers to protect their scouts, build structures to gain powers, and earn victory points. Story cards and individual tasks add intrigue and complexity to gameplay. Alright, so there we have it. Let's get this puppy open. And this box does have some heft to it, so I can tell you right now, we're not going to open this up and see a bunch of air. In fact, look, there's no air. Alright, so 4 factions of the Keepers. Hey, pretty nice artwork, too. For millennia, a secret brotherhood known as the Keepers maintained order throughout space and time. They guarded the eternal talisman known as the Pranank. I don't know if I pronounced that wrong. Cornerstones of all dimensions that kept the universes separate and in order. Okay, so we've got the contents, talking about the contents. Talking about the 5 different realms as well as their objectives. Setting up the game, realm boards, and the scoring track. Talking about structured tiles. Pretty short rulebook, I'll tell you that right now. Story cards, task cards, available resources. So there's gold, wood, stone, and magic. Talking about starting gold, rules for a 3 or 4 player game. What to do on your turn, your actions. So you can recruit units, move, build structures, or draw a story card. It's talking about recruiting your units, building structures, drawing the story card. Talking about soldiers versus scouts. So, of course, there's combat involved. Moving into empty spots. Town hall spaces, scoring. Talking about being the winner, story-specific rules. Because there's a dragon in here. I believe it's a miniature of a dragon. So, and if I recall correctly, now I'm not positive if it's in here or not, or maybe it was kind of a preview of the expansion that's going to be coming out. There was a, I want to say Julie Guthrie, who does a lot of great work for Reaper Miniatures, as well as other miniature companies. But I'm more familiar with her work with Reaper. Did do the sculpts for the minis. So, like I said, I'm not sure if it's in here, because I swear it was like a dragon miniature. And I believe that's Julie was the sculptor for that. So really short rules, all of 8 pages. Not really an example of play though. So even though it's short, the rules are pretty short. Probably might have to take a look at an FAQ or something like that. Okay, so it looks like these are some of the buildings. These are the structures. So we've got it in kind of a grayscale. And then we have it in like full colors. So we've got Orc Lumber Mill, Orc Outpost, Warrior Fortress, and then like so. I wonder if this is before it's destroyed or damaged or something like that. Maybe this side indicates that it's damaged. Don't know. Do not know. So we've got those. Seems like we've got a lot of punch boards in here. So we've got Grey Dwarf Mine, Grey Dwarf Tunneling Workshop, Grey Dwarf Stronghold. So we've got these structures there. And look, buried treasure. Yes, I love buried treasure. Pirate ship, pirate fort. So it looks like these are probably the resources they generate. Huh. Kind of wild how one side's color and the other side is grayed out, sort of. But strangely enough, the side that's kind of grayed out is what's showing like the production for each of these. So like 3 wood, 4 gold, and 2, I forget what the other one was, iron, something like that maybe. I know the 4th one was magic, which was pink, and I'm taking a guess here. That is the icon for magic, because it's a blessed quarry. So we got a gold shrine. Praise the gold. Divine temple. Cool artwork. I like the artwork in this. Very nice. For kind of a first release from a company, pretty cool. Now there's another game on the horizon that's coming to Kickstarter from Soaring Rhino, and it's called Mammoth. And it looked pretty cool. Looks like a nice family game. You'll learn more about that in my interview with Craig Van Ness from Origins Game Fair. You can check that out at thegaminggang.com. Got these. It looks like this might be part of a scoring track that might go alongside the boards. That is a possibility. We've got these little, I don't know if those are monsters of some sort. Don't know. Okay, so we've got that. Huh. And this is a bit thicker than these. Not by a lot. Well, actually, about twice as thick, really, now that I look at it. So, not to say that these are thin, but this is pretty thick cardstock here, cardboard here. All right, so I believe these are going to be the different realms. So, I think it looked like this is the dwarf realm here. So I thought I recognized that title. So, got that. Got Anuna. Oh, kind of cool. We've got that on the back. So I guess you could, you know, kind of randomly just kind of shuffle these up and pick 3 of them, and those are the realms that are kind of clashing. Libertadia. Okay. This must be the Dragon Realm, because it says Dragon starts here. So that's the obvious giveaway, right? Dragon starts here. So this is the Dragon Realm. I am guessing that these open areas are where you build the different structures. I think these structures that are already here, like the forest, that looks kind of like a mine, that looks like a quarry. This looks like a castle or keep, what have you. I would take a stab that these stay in place, and you can place the different structures in these empty areas. Although it's possible you could, you know, maybe clear out these areas that already have something and build a structure there. All right, so I'm going to take a guess that this is the Orc realm, simply because there's like this big statue, which could be possibly an orc. Okay, so those are the 5 realms. Yeah, here we go. Here's the big dragon mini. I thought there was a dragon miniature in here. Kind of cool. Paint that puppy up. Nice. All right, so we've got that. Then we've got a bunch of plastic tokens here. Plastic meeples. And I'm going to take a guess that these are your scouts and your soldiers. So we have the different colors. We got blue, black, red, and green. Looks like we've got that style like that. We've got this style like this. So one where this looks like it's a mace or something. Being here, I'll try to get this the black background here so you can see it better. So one holding it kind of upright, and then the other is sort of holding it to the side. So I'm taking a guess. Oh yeah, actually each of the colors has a different kind of weapon though. So here's green. Let's see, did the green have any of them that's kind of like holding it to the side? No, those are all up in the air. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I think the red are just, all the red have this little sculpt. The green all have this sculpt with kind of a different looking weapon. And then the blue, same way. So, my apologies. So, of course, it's, I would take a wild stab that the dragon realm is red. The orcs are green. That's my guess here. So we've got quite a lot of these. Quite a bunch of those. Then we've got a bunch of... Looks like we've got some cubes. We've got some cylinders. And we got some discs. So all different variety of colors here. We're going to take a guess. A lot of this is for your resources. Because we had the gold, we had the wood, we had the magic, and I think it was iron. I thought I saw it said it was iron. So I would take a guess that these represent all the different resources, plus probably some other things. So I see we've got blue, red, maybe those little cylinders, these little cylinders here. Maybe those are the scouts. All right, now we got a deck of cards, so crack this open. All right, so it looks like we've got 4 different player aid cards. So it's showing what you can do on your turn. It says Perform 3 actions, collect your resources. Then it talks about these are what the actions are. Let's see what we got on the other side. Oh, it's your turn order. Okay. Oh, so I see. So if you go first, that's fine. If you go second, choosing this turn order card gets you 1 gold, 2 gold for going third, and going fourth, you get 1 gold and any 1 resource. So, all right, so we've got that. Then we've got some task cards. Let's see what these are. So these are task cards. Then we've got story cards for each of the... Looks like we got story cards for each of the realms. It talks about game-ending objectives for them on here as well. So let's see what we got for some of these task cards. These are broken by realms too. Yeah, sure enough. Okay, we're just going to take a look at a few of these. We're not going to go through the whole deck. So for the, I believe this is probably the elves. It says task, end of game, I should say. Gain 3 victory points if you have 3 scouts in elf helm that are not on the town hall space. In a 2-player game, you only need 2 scouts instead of 3. So these are special little victory conditions, which I would guess you're going to select. You're gonna choose. You're gonna get one at random, is my guess. You're gonna get one at random, but it's gonna change up a little bit how you approach playing. So these are the obviously this is the priest realm. It says efficient priest, axe wielder, troll hunter. Some pirates, goblin pirates, pirate crew. So these are the different tasks. So that's kind of cool. Kind of, yeah, throw an extra wrinkle, different wrinkle in there. And let's take a look at some of these story cards. So we got elf assistants. Elf scouts arrive. Elf lord. Pretty cool art. Elf wizard. Okay, and these look like these are the priests. So, okay, so the character on the front of the box who looks like kind of a mashup between a soldier in the Continental Army during the American Revolution and a French soldier of the same time period. Those are priests. That is the priest realm. Let me kind of get a closer look at that artwork there. You can kind of see that. Dare the Beast. Urgent orders. Well, then again, hey, take a look. We're seeing, maybe those are the orcs. We're seeing them wear the same kind of uniforms. That's a little bizarre. Yeah, these got to be the orcs. And they're dressed almost like the redcoats. Interesting. Warmonger Lord. Then we got the Goblin Pirates. Pirate Thief. Impressment. Hey, welcome aboard. You're now a pirate. Should have been sleeping in that pub. Now we've got the dwarfs with some of theirs. Dwarf Knight Protector. The Dragon Attacks. Yeah, cool. Interesting. Looks pretty interesting. And the setup looks pretty good. And as you can see here, with these realm boards, it's going to take up a good amount of space on your table. So, probably look pretty cool while you're playing. All right, so we've got the various decks of cards. We've got the pretty sweet-looking dragon miniature there. Which, as I mentioned, I think this is sculpted by Julie Guthrie. I am not positive. We've got the various different forces here. Kind of get the feeling these are probably the soldiers. Got the various different resources as far as cubes, cylinders, and discs. And I would take a stab as far as, because we see like see, we've got the yellow disc, and then we've got the yellow square. Maybe the squares represent 1, and then the disc represent like 5 of that resource. Maybe something along those lines. All right, and then we've got the 5 different realms, the different realm boards. We've got what appears to be a scoring track. Then we've got the various different structures that can be built. And they are both in color and also kind of grayscale, where really it looks like the grayscale has more production and stuff going on. So, I don't know. I have no idea. Obviously, I'm going to have to go through the rules and play to find out what is the difference between the grayscaled and the full color versions. Oh, I had some turn order cards that I left out. Put those back in there. And then we've got the 8-page rulebook, which not a whole lot cooking in that. Pretty easy. It doesn't look like it's a very difficult game to jump into. And that is what we find when we take everything from Shifting Realms outside the box. So, as I mentioned before, Shifting Realms is for, as I put a cap on ye old hobby knife so I don't accidentally stab myself with it. Anyway, Shifting Realms is from Soaring Rhino Entertainment. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, plays in about an hour. As I mentioned, this was successfully kickstarted, and the Kickstarter copies are going out to backers. I'm not positive if some of them have them now or if they're going out right now, but I do not know when this is coming to retail, but when it was on Kickstarter, it did carry a $55 pledge level. So you're probably looking at about $60 maybe. Usually there's kind of a $5 difference, sometimes a little bit more from Kickstarter to retail. Anyway, so I am going to look forward to getting that to the table because it looks interesting. Looks kind of Euro-ish and kind of I hate Ameritrash, American style game kind of mixture there because it looks like there's some battling going on. So I will look forward to getting that out to the table, and I will have a review of Shifting Realms in the very near future. All right, so that is it for today's show. Once again, when you're not watching The Daily Dope, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill by now. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Tomorrow I will be taking a first look at the Arcane Portal expansion for Sword and Sorcery, from Ares Games. So until then, enjoy the rest of your Monday, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.